Hello, Mr. Bernie.
Hey, Rezan, how are you today?
Fine, and you?
Very good, very good. Did you already have your break the fast dinner tonight?
Yes, actually.
Good,
It's
good.
at 6:30 if I'm not false.
Okay, so and right now it's what? It's 8:45 at your house?
Yes, yes,
Okay, so
absolutely.
you've had it. Okay, very good. Um, is it hard to be fasting when you're at school?
Actually, not that much. Like
Okay.
today we have football. I'm a little bit thirsty, and there is any other problem.
Okay. Okay. Now, your school is a high school, right?
Yeah.
So the youngest students are about maybe 14.
Um, 18 actually.
No, the youngest,
Oh yeah, actually.
about
Yes.
14. Okay. So can I ask you this? When you were in elementary school, I know some younger children do not fast.
Yeah.
So do they still provide lunches at those schools, at elementary schools?
Actually, yes. Like for some guys that don't fasting, they give permission for eating.
Okay. Okay. Because the school that I taught at, that was the same thing. We didn't have a lot of Muslim students, but we did have some. And basically, the little kids, like 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, they usually didn't fast. They had lunch with everybody else. The older kids got to go to the library during lunchtime, and they could read or play, like chess or board games or things like that in the library at that
Yeah.
time. Okay. All right. Well, my young friend, let's remember last week. Rezan, last week, I think we did two words. Yes, we did, well, two forms of one word. We did resilience and resilient.
Mm, resilience and resilience.
Okay. So, what do you remember about those two words?
Um, resilience is no. Resilience is um strong or something like strong, and
Right, right.
the resilient is the same. Um,
Right.
no, the resilience is to be strong, and the resilient is something like strong.
Right. They both have to do with strength. And remember,
Yeah,
we said that when we think about resilience and resilient, we mostly think about strength through difficulty. Okay.
yeah.
So
Okay.
if you were having a very difficult time in a class, but you worked hard and you pushed really hard to be successful and you were successful, that is resilience. You're a little bit sleepy, bud, huh?
Yeah. I'm a little tired.
You had a long day today.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and look at our next word. And this word, I want to just say a word or two about this to think about what it means. When you are in math class at school, they expect you to get the correct answer. That when you perform an equation, let's say you're subtracting or multiplying or dividing or adding, they want you to get the exact answer because math is very exact. Math is about being concise. Now, when you talk with me, if you say something that is incorrect, that's okay because you are practicing your English, you are learning your English, and it won't be perfect yet because you're not a little boy, but you're a teenager and you're learning and growing, and that's okay. It is not necessary to be concise. So take a look at this word, and would you say it for yourself, please?
Concise.
Right, okay. Now, just a few quick things to notice about concise. Let me put it in the chat. It is an adjective. First of all, this part, I think you already know that.
Yeah.
What do you know about that?
No.
Well, the last letter. What do you notice about that last letter?
Um, actually, it's silence.
Right, right. And so often when E is the last letter, it is silent. That happens all the time. Very, very frequent. And also, do you remember what we learned about this vowel, this spelling pattern?
Mm, subject?
When you
No.
see that spelling pattern and the E is silent, and before the E, there is a consonant. So you remember the consonants,
Yeah.
B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K. So all of the letters except the vowels. And if the letter before that is a vowel, then the vowel makes the long sound. In other words, this I makes the I sound. It does not make the I sound. So that's why it's concise. It's not consist.
Yeah.
Okay. And that spelling pattern is very, very common. Now, why did I say math is concise?
Mm,
Okay, because math is
oh.
with math, you have to be accurate and get the exact answer. Okay, so if the answer is 10.25 and you have a 10.24, well, that's close, but it's not correct.
Yeah.
That is not concise. So concise means accurate, exact, precise, or correct. If you are an engineer, you have to be concise.
Yes.
If you are a mathematician, you have to be concise. Learning English, you don't have to be concise. Now, maybe on a test, yes, you do. But normally, you don't have to be concise. So if you make a mistake, your English is good enough. I still know what you're saying. Okay. So
Okay.
English, Turkish, etc., you don't have to be quite so concise. Math, engineering, that's concise. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
there's one other thing. Sometimes people use concise when they talk about how you talk. So, Rezan, if you were to talk concisely, then that means you could say what you think, but you say it in just a few sentences. It's not very long. It's short. It's correct. Now, Rezan, you're old enough. You've had some teachers who speak concisely.
Yeah.
When they give the instructions, it takes them 30, 40, maybe 60 seconds, and they're done. And they've told you what to do. But you've had other teachers who are not concise. And when they explain the instructions, they go on and on and on and on. And eventually you're like, I don't understand what they're talking about. I wish they would say it concisely.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand it.
I was doing this word with a scientist in Japan,
Oh.
and she laughed and she said, this happened to me last week. She said, last week she was in a meeting and someone was talking and talking and talking and talking. And she said, eventually she's sitting there and she's starting to get a little bit sleepy. And when the speaker finally finished, one of the other men raised his hand and he said, can you please repeat that in 30 seconds? Now, you understand what that man wanted? He
Yeah.
wanted a concise idea of what the guy was talking about. He doesn't want another 10-minute explanation. Just in 30 seconds, tell us your main idea. Okay?
Okay, Mr. Vernon.
All right. Now, if this has not happened to you, it will happen to you. Someday you'll have a job and you'll have a worker who is concise and another one that just goes on forever. Okay?
Okay, Mr. Vernon.
All right, buddy. So today, kind of a mysterious looking picture. Now, first of all, this is not the real color. This is taken with a black and white camera. If it used real color, it would look different. So what do you see in this picture?
I see a rover that's it's shadow and the wheels.
Okay.
I see there is something like a material that can shine and the lights
Okay.
back,
Mm-hmm.
and there is some hills or something out there.
Right. Very good. Very good. Now, you can also see a little bit of its tire tracks right here.
Yeah.
And there's one there. And here's its other tire track. And there's kind of a deep portion right here and right here. Maybe the rover got stuck a little bit and the tires spun a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Now, can you guess which planet this is?
I want to say Mars.
That's right. This is Mars. You're absolutely right. And isn't it interesting that here there is some lighter colored material. There's more of it
Yeah.
on the side of this hill here. So very interesting that that would happen. Do you know what this is caused by?
No.
That sand that has blown that way in the
Oh,
wind. Yeah. And you may have heard that Mars is actually a pretty windy world.
yeah,
Okay.
I have heard.
Lots of strong wind. Now, just so you know what those things are called, because we have them on Earth too. They're called sand dunes. Okay.
Sand dunes. Okay.
Okay. Rezan, what is that in Turkish?
Kum tepecikleri.
Is that when the sand blows and it makes like hills and patterns and things?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that is a sand dune. Well, very good. And I'm glad you figured that out, that was Mars. If it had been color, it would have been really easy, right? But
Yeah.
this made you think a little bit. So very good. Very good. All right, my friend. Today, let's move on to Rachel. And she's going to do a very, very easy phrase. You already know what it means. But we're going to think a little bit about how Americans pronounce this phrase. Here we go.
Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. I had a video and I was looking at this and I saw that there was a spike and I went back to see what are people interested in? And do you know what it was? It was the pronunciation of, wait a second. Wait a second. So how is this pronounced? Wait a second. Feel it as one word with first syllable stress. Way. Now that T is going to link into the schwa. Wait. Wait. We do not want a release of air. Wait. Now the word second is pronounced second. Second. So it's low in pitch. It's flat. It's not stressed in this phrase. Also, we're not going to do a D release. You can just drop that. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second.
Okay. Now, did you see what I wrote in the chat about this?
Yeah.
So Americans, they drop the T, and then the T and the wait kind of blend together and make waita. And I put that in captions or quotation marks because you do understand that's not a real word.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's the way we say it. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Try it yourself.
Wait a second.
Very good. And when would you say wait a second?
When I want to stop something or when I'm interested something.
Okay. Okay. So let's think about this as a family. When would you tell Bauer to wait a second? Can you think of a time you would say that to him?
When he says something that he mustn't say.
Okay, very good. And I was also thinking about this. Suppose you and he were going down to the gym, and when you look at him, he doesn't have any shoes on. And you would say, wait a second, put your shoes on. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Come on. You're the big brother. I'm the big brother. Sometimes little brothers do goofy things, right?
Yeah.
That's how life is. Okay. All right, my friend. So we were talking about an age on Earth when supposedly Earth, at least temporarily, had a ring system. And they believe that eventually those rings fell down to the Earth as meteorites And there is evidence of this down deep in the ground. So we read the abstract, we read the introduction last time, and now we're on the methods. So Rezan, when we say the methods of an experiment, what are we talking about?
How does experiments tried?
Right. How we tried it, how we did it. Now, there are 3 paragraphs. The first one has the hardest words. So I will read the first one and you read second and third.
Okay.
Methods. We studied impact craters from the Ordovician period to look for evidence of whether Earth used to have a ring. We looked at these impact craters a few different ways. First, we modeled the world's geography and the distribution of tectonic plates during the Ordovician period. We did this with computer programs and by looking at data from the past. Tectonic plates move slowly over time, so millions of years ago, the Earth looked very different.
Next, we need to be sure that we pick the best
Preserve.
impact critters from the correct time. This will help us to get most accurate results. We choose places that haven't changed much over millions of years. Some examples are places with less erosion and fewer mountains. Finally, we want to analyze the disruption of these craters in more detail. We looked at the impact craters spread around the world to see if they followed a pattern. If they were just spread randomly around the world, then a ring around the Earth wouldn't be like. We used special calculations to work out this pattern. And we also compared these an- ancient, um,
Ancient.
ancient impact craters to more recent ones.
Okay, good job. Now let me point out just, look at this word right here. This word is pronounced spread. Now let me tell you an example of spread. Do you ever have toast for breakfast?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine now, I don't have one with me, but imagine that this is the knife, okay? And imagine my hand is the toast. I take some butter and I spread it on the toast. Okay, so that's spread. Now, we're not talking about toast here. Spread also means to be far apart. So for example, you and I are spread far apart. Now, on the internet, we're right next to each other, but in physical terms, we're not next to each other. We are spread apart. Okay. Now, also, I wanted to look at this word here. I'm going to say it slowly, and then you say it after I finish. Distribution. Say it again. Very good. Distribution. And in math class, you do many calculations.
And calculations.
Very good. You want to be concise in your calculations in math class, okay?
Yeah, okay.
And one thing to notice about this word, remember, when C has the letter A after it, it's usually the hard C, k. When C has U after it, it's the hard C, k. Calculations. So the hard C sound. All right, my young friend. So last week, Brian has survived, okay? But he has had nothing to eat and nothing to drink. And Brian has learned from watching television and reading books that it is not safe to drink water out in the middle of nowhere. It could be contaminated. It could have dirt in it. But he hasn't eaten since that morning. Oh, no, He hasn't eaten since the morning the day before. So it's been more than a day since he ate or since he got a drink. And he's looking at the lake and wondering if he should drink that water. It was water, but he did not know if he could drink it. Nobody had ever told him if you could or could not drink lakes. There was also the thought of the pilot down in the blue water with the plane strapped in the body. Should he drink that water when there's a dead body out in the lake? Let's see. Would you start where it says awful?
Awful, he thought, but the lake was blue and wet looking, and his mouth and throat great with the thirst, and he didn't know where there might be another form of water he could drink. Uh, Besides, he can't probably swallow. How can I read it?
Swallowed.
Swallowed a ton of it while he was swimming out of the plane and getting to shore. In the movies, they're also short. The hero finding a clear, stripping, blue, pure, sweet water to drink, but in the movies they didn't have plain wax and woolen fur hats and acting bodies and thirst and tour and the hero until he couldn't think.
Okay, I want to show you something just so you see what that means. Oh, you see this person with the bottle in their hand?
Yeah.
That's what a spring is. It's a place where water comes out of the ground. And they
Oh.
say that spring water is some of the freshest, healthiest water you can drink. Well, he doesn't have time to go find a spring. He's got a headache. He can hardly walk. He's not feeling well. Should he drink the water or not? Brian took small steps down the bank to the lake. Along the edge, there were thick grasses, and the water looked a little murky, a little dirty. And there were small things swimming in the water, small bugs. But there was a log extending about 20 feet, that would be about 6 meters, out into the water of the lake, a beaver drop from some time before, with old limbs sticking up, almost like handles. He balanced on the log, holding himself up with the limbs, and teetered out past the weeds and murky water. He's going to drink the water. Let's see what happens.
When he was out there, the water was clear and he could see no bugs swimming. He knelt on the log to drink. A sip, he thought, still worrying about the lake water. I'll just take a sip. But when he brought a cupped hand off to his mouth and felt the cold lake water tick,
Trickle.
trickle past his cracked lips and over his tongue, he couldn't stop. He had never, not even on long bike trips in his hot summer, been this thirsty. It was as um, it was as if the water were more than water, as if the water had become all of life, and he couldn't stop. He stopped and put his mouth into the lake and drank, pulling it deep and swallowing great gulps of it. He drank until his stomach was swollen, until he nearly fell off the log with it. Then he rose and tripped and tripped um tripped his way back to the bank.
Rezan, this is stooped, not stopped.
Oh, sorry.
And stoop means, like, if I drop something on the floor, I'm going to stoop down and get it. Well, at first, I'm just going to get a little drink. So he puts his hands in and he drinks like this. But it felt so good, he stooped down and just stuck his mouth right in the water. And so he is super, super thirsty. And he drank so much that he's a little bit dizzy, and he walks back to the bank, where he was immediately sick and threw up most of the water. So he vomited most of the water. But his thirst was gone, and the water seemed to reduce the pain in his head as well, although the sunburn still cooked his face. So he almost jumped with the word, spoken aloud. It seemed so out of place, the sound. He tried to get it again. So here I am.
There it is, he thought, for the first time since the crash. His mind started to work. His brain triggered, and he began thinking, Here I am, sorry. And where is that? Where am I?
He pulled himself once more up the bank to the tall tree without branches and sat again with his back against the rough bark. It was hot now, but the sun was high and to his rear, and he sat in the shade of the tree in relative comfort. There were things to sort out. So he sits down and he thinks, I have to think about what I'm doing and what's going on.
Here I am, and that is nowhere. With his mind open and thoughts happening, it's all tried to come in with a rush. All of what had occurred, and he couldn't take it. The whole thing turned into a confused jumble and made no sense. So he fought it down and tried to take one thinking at a time.
So many things happened to him, it doesn't make sense. And so he says, wait, stop. I have to think about one thing at a time. He had been flying north to visit his father for a couple of months in the summer. And the pilot had had a heart attack and had died. And the plane had crashed somewhere in the Canadian North Woods, but he did not know how far they had flown or in what direction or where he was.
Slow down, he thought. Slow down more. My name is Brian Robertson. I am 13 years old and I'm alone in the northern woods of Canada. All right, he thought, that's simple enough.
So the first thing he can think about is he does remember his name. He knows how old he is, and he knows that he's in Canada. But Canada is one of the biggest countries on earth, lots of extra space. So we shall see what happens next. Okay, well, Rezan, we got a lot done today.
Oh.
You did a good job. And I know you're feeling sleepy,
great.
but we got a lot done. So you get a good night's sleep tonight, okay?
Thanks, Bernie.
All right. Good night, Rezan. Have a good night's sleep. We'll see you again next week, okay? Good night, my friend. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.